Chief,
Talk to me, Goose.
what's it like?
Wake up every day.
Anyway, today, folks, we are going to talk a little bit about the Bahamas. We're going to do a three-part series here. I don't want to spoil the last video because I'll just say that it was more challenging than we probably thought, and if I had to do it over again, I may not do it. We both kind of had that same thought. But this video today, let's talk about, because I think every freaking American has the dream of buying this boat and going to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Pete?
Yeah.
I think we all do it. We all think, oh, it's such a wonderful glory land. Anyway, I completed America's Great Loop, and then I had the bug. I was just like, I'm going to the Bahamas. It didn't matter it didn't matter how it was going to happen. I'm going to the Bahamas. And that November, remember, I went on a trip. You weren't even planning on coming with me. Not at that point.
To the Bahamas?
Yeah. If you remember correctly, I went. You were living with PJ, my son.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, you were living with my son, and then I went and I visited you guys, and that's when everything turned because he had met a girl, and then you.
That's right. Yeah.
You were getting thrown out of the house, basically.
Yeah. I'm thinking loop. Okay, I'm confused on my timeline. Yeah.
And so then we went and I came and I was visiting for a couple weeks, and we ended up coming back together. That was not even planned at all.
Yeah.
And then we said, you said, well, let's go do the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's what we staged for, was the Bahamas. Yeah.
And so then we came back. It took us about the middle of November. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Till January. We left on January 15th, so November 15th to January. And I had already started some of the projects, like the solar system and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The new DD solar system and things like that. But it took both of us, if I remember correctly, we were working our asses off.
Put a lot of time in, yeah.
Yeah, we were just getting the engines, all the service work done on the engines.
We put the new AC unit in the front.
Yeah, we put a new AC unit in the front. Just everything
New
that we could think
anchor.
of. We went to Costco. How many times do you think we went to Costco?
I had this boat stocked.
Yeah, we were.
More than we needed. We just finished eating this stuff, as a matter of fact.
From that trip.
Within the last couple of months, 6 months.
Anyway, so then, so there was grocery shopping to do. There was, we had a new chain. That chain turned out to be a pain in the ass because if you remember correctly, we ordered it, then it got stolen, then we get another one. We're trying to leave, and we wanted this new anchor chain.
Yeah.
And I am going to drop this clue because the last video will really get into this, but the remoteness of the Bahamas, all of our Boy Scout readiness prepared us, but we didn't have a clue what we were doing. We didn't know anything. We didn't know how we were going to get over there. We didn't know where we were going. We just knew we were going to the Bahamas, but it all paid off. All that prep work and everything paid off. And I don't think somebody can prep a boat, weekend warrior in it. They can. But there's more involved to it. And again, I want to talk about this in video number 3. This is going to be video number 1, because the prep work, we're going to act like we didn't know what we know now, and the prep work was insane, and we probably over prep. Would you say? I don't think we did.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even use any of the gas that we brought.
And there was a lot of stuff, but after it was all said and done. We'll talk about it again in video 3. We weren't ready for nothing. If something bad would have happened, we'd have been screwed. I mean, we had parts. Remember, we changed starter motors. There was a lot of parts we had. We had extra. We had just about everything we thought we could possibly need. And it took all of that from November 15th till January 15th. We left. Remember, with Rolanda and Eve.
Yep.
We did our first YouTube sail. It was fun. I enjoyed them. Eve loved the boat.
Yeah, had a big smile on his face
the entire time we're driving the boat. And then we left Gulf Shores on the 15th of January. And then we planned on spending a month in the Bahamas, and that all worked out. A lot of prep work went on. And then getting the boat staged, and that's what we'll talk about today, was that little ride over to, let's say, the Keys, and then we'll end it there for today. boat, Southern Estate. Me and you had now we probably got 4,000 miles on this boat by now. Probably even a little bit more than that. One thing about Southern Estate, when I was doing America's Great Loop, I missed a lot of stops, Chief. So on that ride over to the Bahamas, we stopped like the Destin Harbor, Panama City. We had a beautiful marina there. Anyway, we stopped at a lot of different places that we didn't stop when I was doing the loop. And I think that whole Golden Coast there of Florida there, the Panhandle, is probably some of the prettiest boating there is.
Yeah.
On the entire loop, and in the Bahamas, basically. I mean,
Destin's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
and they got a nice place to anchor in there, so you don't have to worry.
Yeah, a lot of a beautiful, beautiful anchorage. I got a picture of it. I'll show you right here. I had all 3 boats tied off. We always put our anchor in, and we would tie off.
Because our anchor will, you can, it'll hold the Queen Mary. It's oversized anchor on this boat.
Yeah, and then so we have the windlass and the chain, and we had brand new chain. We had everything going on.
Yeah.
So we would we would stop, and we would tie the other 2 boats up to us. They weren't all going with us, but they were friends that made it to Destin. I think we made it all the way to the Pan. It was where we split up, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
On the crossing is where everybody had their own.
Well, I remember, because I had to go on different boats to do crossings. So.
Yeah, and their definition of what they're going to do in the weather and stuff like that. So we went when we went because of my experience, basically, of doing that crossing. And some other people decided to wait and got screwed, if you remember. Jim.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go with us, and then he ended up going in a worse weather window, and he paid that price for that. Yeah. If anybody ever gets to talk to him. But anyway, so the Bahamas is I think it's an American dream. I think a lot of us will sit at our desks. We'll dream about taking this boat over to the Bahamas, whether it's a sailboat or powerboat or trawler. Probably the chances of you doing it in your life are probably going to be almost a 1% chance. That's about right. Yeah. Because it's definitely a lot of work. It's one thing to take a ferry boat across, or fly over to Bimini, or even a helicopter, or just a quick tour boat over there, from Miami over to Bimini. Yeah. But to actually take your own personal boat, there's a lot of prep that needs to go in, a lot of work that needs to go in, and it's not like America's Great Loop, because you do not have the resources. You don't have
nothing out there.
There's nothing.
There's not even Coast Guard. There's nothing. Nobody can help you. There's nothing.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big lessons that we learned after and then we didn't know anything about the weather going to and from there, and we're just hyped up on taking this journey. We did the dry Tortugas. You hear a lot about the dry Tortugas. Remember Steve jumped on the boat?
Yeah, dry Tortugas were great.
Great, and Steve jumps on the boat. We picked him up in Fort Myers. We were at an anchorage in a hurricane-ravaged part of the town. Yeah. We picked him up. We threw him on the dinghy, and he got off the air, and then we immediately left for the dry Tortugas. Yeah. That guy was a stud. He still is. Then we got the boat down there to the Keys, and basically the dry Tortugas, and then we went over to Key West and hung out there for 3 or 4 days. Great trip. I actually enjoyed the dry Tortugas.
I did too, but we caught the right weather window too.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect weather. We left at 6 o'clock in the evening. I got to pull up some video of that. And then we arrived about 10 a.m. the next morning in the dry Tortugas, and the weather was absolutely perfect. Yep. And then when we got over there, again, that's another very remote spot. And it's about 80 miles. I think it's 80 or 90 miles from Marathon right here. It's about the end of Key West. I think it's about 70 miles.
70 miles, yeah. From Key West.
And if I was gonna recommend something to somebody, I would say go do the dry Tortugas, go do the Keys, then see if you want to do the Bahamas, because really not the beaches are prettier in the Bahamas than the Keys, but they're not prettier than the beaches over on that Panhandle.
Yeah.
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
the Dry Tortugas is a cool stop. It really gives you that experience of the remoteness and what it's gonna be like over there in the Bahamas, if that makes sense. Because you have a fort, the fort over there. You throw your anchor out, and it is what it is. That's
The Bahamas is the same.
same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And then you got all these little stops that you go to.
Now there's a million islands out there.
Oh, yeah.
Million of them.
To where the Dry Tortugas is. There's a couple over there, but they're the main thing that you stop at would be about a regular island in the Bahamas, basically. It'd be
Yeah.
a little bit of beach, a little bit of rock, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad plan for you guys, especially beginner boaters.
And they have decent marinas too in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I don't have any complaints about any of the marinas.
We'll talk about that a little bit more in video in the actual getting over to the Bahamas, because this week, like I said, it was all about prep work. It was about getting our engines ready, getting the boat stocked up, making sure we had the correct ground tackle because there was a lot of anchoring over there. The generators are set up, the air conditioners are set up, everything.
The solar was working.
Probably
good.
one of the coolest two of the coolest things that we did prepping for the Bahamas trip was solar panels.
And the Honda generator with the big gas tank on there.
Yep, the Honda generator with the big gas tank, and then Elon Musk, probably the
internet.
The internet was probably the single biggest thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have a clue how that was going to work, but it worked flawlessly. Like we would throw our anchor out at night, and
we never missed a beat.
Starlink was we used Wi-Fi on our cell phones. The TV, freaking Alexa, everything. It didn't matter. It was just like we were sitting in the U.S. and the download speeds were so fast and so effective.
Yep.
We didn't even know. I mean, we didn't have to go look for Bahama cards. We didn't have to look for anything. We didn't. That was probably the biggest surprise. Starlink was probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
So we just didn't know. We did leave with Starlink Gulf Shores, and we knew it was working well. We just had no clue. I mean, you hear people say, "Hey, we're going over the Bahamas. We got Starlink," but until you actually go over there and try it yourself, you don't know.
Yeah.
But it was spot on, and it was flawless.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's what this video is about. Talking about the prep work. Those are the three major things I would say: is have your food, as much fuel as you can pack, and just a good plan in general before you even think about doing a Bahamas trip.
Yeah.
And your boat better be ship shape.
Yep.
Because there's nothing over there for you. There really is nothing. And again, next week we'll talk about staging as far as what we did after we got the boat from Gulf Shores through the Dry Tortugas over to Key West. We'll leave Key West because that's when we meet Tats.
Yeah.
Which is not when we meet her, but that's when she starts coming to the boat. She never made it over to the Bahamas, but she made it down to the Keys. She's been down here 2 or 3 times now, and we started learning to snorkel.
Yeah.
We started doing all the snorkeling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, guys, peace out. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for
Thanks,
watching.
guys.
We do appreciate it. Bye.